Hi guys, it's me Terry of the Yarnjoy podcast. Welcome to Vlogtober day 28. Okay, so for today's mini project, it was a little bit bigger than mini, but here you go. Following Laura at Happy Berry Crochet here on YouTube, I made the little cube cat. I think hers was yellow with orange stripes, but we have a neighborhood cat that kind of comes around and visits, and we always call him Morris because do you remember the old Frisky cat food commercials? And it was Morris the cat. Well, the one in the neighborhood that visits around, he reminds us of that cat from those commercials from back in what, 70s and 80s. Anyway, we call him Morris. And so I decided to do this one in orange and white striped. So anyway, here you go. He took me a little bit to make. I mean, it wasn't difficult, and like the color changes was you just follow her. She goes right along with you to do them. So it's not difficult. It's just like, I think it's got 40 stitches around, so it's a little bit more time consuming because it's a little bit larger. And of course you had to do the 4 feet separate and the tail and the ears, but they weren't difficult to put on. So anyway, here's my project for today is the cube cat. Okay, so on to the trivia questions from yesterday. Number 1 was, which Oscar-nominated actor is rumored to have hated the 80s TV show that he starred in so much that he lit his underwear on fire in an attempt to get fired? Was it A, George Clooney, B, Johnny Depp, C, Tom Hanks, or D, Will Smith? And the answer for that was B, Johnny Depp. It says, when Depp joined the cast of 21 Jump Street in 1987, he did so believing it would only be for 1 season. When the show became a hit, he was stuck. Eager to be taken more seriously, Depp got creative in trying to escape his contract, but it took 4 long seasons before he was finally free to leave. He apparently got over his distaste for the role, however, and good-naturedly made a cameo in the 2012 movie based on the series. Okay, number 2 was, Cheers remains one of the longest-running sitcoms in television history. How many seasons did it run? A, 9, B, 10, C, 11, or D, 12? And the answer to that one was C, sorry. It's kind of strange because the choice says D, 12, and then on the answer it says D, but then it says the show ran for 11 seasons, airing from 1982 until 1993. So it should have been C then. So I guess that's a typo. Okay. And the last one was for number 3 from yesterday. Was, how many viewers tuned in for the finale of MASH in 1983? Was it A, 101 million, B, 131 million, C, 121 million, or 111 million? And the answer to that one, and this was what? Oh, 1983, okay. So the answer to that one was D, right? Yeah, 111 million. It says, the finale in which Hawkeye slowly unravels a terrible and moving psychological trauma with the help of the series' long-running psychiatrist broke the record set in 1980 by the conclusion of Who Shot JR on Dallas. So that episode of Dallas was the highest viewed until MASH, and then they broke that record. So, okay. So, let's see. Today's questions Number 1, the creator of Benson, Susan Harris, also created which other popular sitcom? Was it A, The Facts of Life, B, Cheers, C, The Golden Girls, or D, Family Ties? Okay. Number 2, true or false? Benson was the first network series to show characters using the internet. Okay. And then number 3, which actor plays the A-Team's howling mad Murdoch? Was it A, Dwight Schultz, B, Stephen Collins, C, Robert Hayes, or D, Jameson Parker? Okay. Okay. So on to the Q&A section. Grace asked me, do you have a favorite family tradition? Well, I had to think about it, and I discussed it with my husband so he could remind me, because for some reason I was drawing a blank. But the one family tradition that I thought of first came to my mind was that for birthdays. Okay, so every time we had a birthday when we were children, and well, up until we were adults, I guess, anytime we had a birthday, we're actually a birthday cake with candles, okay? Well, my family always put one extra candle on the cake. So say the child was turning 6 years old, well, we would always put an extra one, so there would be 7 candles on the cake. And we always said that that extra candle was one to grow on. Have you ever heard of that tradition? I don't know where it came from, but my family always did that. And I know that, like, my daughter-in-law, when she married into the family, we do that, and she had never heard of that before. And then others, like when we have birthday parties for my son, either of my sons, and we would always do that with the extra candle, and most of the people at the birthday party had never heard of doing that before. So I don't know how, and I don't know really how that tradition started in my family, but we always do that. We always have one extra candle on the cake. Sometimes we have the other candles kind of grouped together. We have that extra one off to the side, but it's one to grow on, so kind of like good luck for the next year or whatever. So that's one family tradition that I can think of that we do all the time. And of course, then there's other traditions like I can't remember now if it was at Thanksgiving or it was Christmas, but there was this, well, yeah, I think it was at Thanksgiving, because whenever we would spend Thanksgiving at my parents' house, well, after we ate lunch, then we always had to watch a movie. It was one of my dad's favorite movies, and at that time it was on VCR or VHS tape. And so we would always watch the movie Sergeant York with Gary Cooper in it. And so that was like a tradition. We had to watch Sergeant York on that day. And then for Christmas Day, after we would eat lunch, then we would always have to watch The Christmas Story. Now, of course, they have it where it's on 24 hours, replaying over and over for the whole 24 hours of Christmas Day. But that was always a tradition that we had to watch The Christmas Story, because that was one of my dad's favorites. I always made him laugh so much. So those are some family traditions that I remember. Besides, like, favorite dishes that we had to make, I know that my husband's grandmother had this signature dish. I'm not even sure where she got the recipe from, but every year in their family they had this family reunion that they would go to, and it would be during the Christmas season, and it would be like a potluck, and everybody would bring finger foods, hors d'oeuvres or whatever, and it seemed like it was like kind of a tradition that each person always brought the same dish all the time. It was like that was their signature dish. Well, my husband's, which it was my boyfriend at the time, his grandmother would always take this recipe, and she just called them asparagus sandwiches. And I fell in love with them. And I knew that there was a few people, well, my brother and my dad, different ones, and my mom, different ones, and I knew they liked asparagus. So I got to where when I got that recipe from my grandmother, well, my husband's grandmother, and I started making it for Christmas Eve, our Christmas Eve celebration, because in our family, we always got together on Christmas Eve night, and we would open our gifts then. And then on Christmas Day, we get together and have a big meal, just like Thanksgiving, you know. So I got to where I would take those asparagus sandwiches for Christmas Eve, because it would be we would eat finger foods like tuna sandwiches, pimento cheese sandwiches, and I would make those asparagus sandwiches, and then we'd have chips and dips and, you know, stuff like that. And so it got to where I was expected that I made the asparagus sandwiches, and so I think maybe there was one year I didn't make them, and it was terrible. Everybody expected, where are the asparagus sandwiches? Why didn't you make them? So I have to make the asparagus sandwiches each Christmas Eve. So anyway, some people, if you don't like asparagus, then you wouldn't like them. But people that like asparagus, they like them. My husband, he was not an asparagus eater, but he does like to eat them like that. So anyway, those are some family traditions that I can think of just off the top of my head. So, okay, next question. Okay, so Beverly, this is Beverly Simmons. Hi, Beverly. She's a sweet friend of mine that we've got acquainted through YouTube and through Messenger, and we message back and forth to each other. She lives in Canada. Anyway, she asked me, are you going to do a granny afghan sometime? Because she said that she had a lot of small balls of yarn. Well, I do too, pretty good amount. But yes, of course, I'm making granny squares right now for a granny square drive that I had talked about in my last Yarnjoy podcast episode that I'm going to be sending to Melissa at Crocheting in Agreement. She's doing a granny square drive, But besides that, though, I've had several people ask me about that blanket back there, the red granny square type blanket. Okay, that is a red heart pattern, and the name of the pattern is Rectangles and Squares, and I think it's Rectangles and Squares Throw. I will link it in the description box below. It's a free pattern, and I've had several people ask me about that, and even ask me if we could do a crochet along. So if that's something that y'all might be interested in, y'all, that's my southernness, I'm kind of getting the mood where I want to make another one of those again. It probably won't be until after the first of the year because, you know, we're getting close to Christmas stitching and stuff. And so it probably won't be until then. So y'all think about it. And maybe we can, I don't know if I can do a tutorial. I mean, if anybody knows about that too, because it is a red heart pattern, but it is a free pattern. So I don't know if I'd be able to, but I mean, it's really, wouldn't that be that big of a tutorial? It's granny squares, different sizes. But anyway, maybe we'll do something like that. It is pretty fun to do, and so maybe we'll do that as a crochet along of some sort to get rid of scraps and leftover yarn, open skeins, that sort of thing. Especially after the new year, because that's going to be, I think, one of my yearly goals for this next year is to cut down on my yarn stash by doing stuff like that. So, let me know. Okay, next question is from Karen. Hi, Karen. She asked me, let's see, what helps to keep you motivated with a project that you have to complete, but you're not enjoying it or is tediously slow? Well, one thing that motivates me, if it's for somebody and I have a deadline, like if it's for somebody's birthday or some gift, or somebody is paying me to do it, like a commission or whatever, that's motivation right there to get it done. And then besides that, if it's something that's kind of tedious, like the same stitch over and over, I really want to get it done, but it's just very, well, tedious, like she was saying. A lot of time, well, I mean, what I do is since I have several projects going on at one time, I will make myself spend a certain amount of time on that project to get it done, like get so many rows done or get so many sections done. And then my reward would be to be able to work on one of my other projects that I'm enjoying more. So maybe you can think of it that way and use that way as a source of motivation. So, okay. She also asked me, when you're looking through patterns, what types of patterns or designers do you find yourself constantly attracted to the most and saving too many of? And I believe she means like bookmarking them and saving them to do later. It depends on what kind I'm into at the moment. I guess like here recently, especially through this past summer, I was doing a lot of the backpack buddies. I was getting into those and I was really enjoying those. And so I was going through pattern sites. Sorry, allergies. I was going through pattern sites and bookmarking and saving any type of patterns that was like keychain type designs or minis and things that I thought that I could convert into backpack buddies. So like I said, I do save and bookmark lots of those. Besides that, I would say amigurumis, especially if it's a certain designer like Jess Huff. I really enjoy all of hers. Oh, she just released a new one. It's a deer. Oh, it's so cute. So her, but also though, just amigurumis, anyone that I think that would be cute for a baby gift or something, you know, in the future. Besides that, I would say lap gowns and throws and things that are that size, blankets, because of the things that I like to make for charity. So yeah. I've got so many bookmarked and things that I'll probably never be able to get to them all. Okay. And one last question for today. Allison asked me, are you a candy eater and what is your favorite? She said she loves licorice, but just the black or the red, not any of the other. Okay. Yes, I am a candy. Well, I try not to be a candy eater because I really do try to eat low carb and no sugar and that sort of thing. But what tempts me the most, I would say, are Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Oh, I love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I love chocolate. But chocolate with peanut butter together, it's a weakness. So I would say my favorite candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Yeah. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks so much for coming by on Vlogtober Day 28. And we will have another visit tomorrow if you come back. And we will do Vlogtober 29. So we'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.